Primary ignition.
Hey, this is Mark Von Ohlen. I play Vane on The Mandalorian, and you're watching the Virtual Cantina Network.
And there we are.
Every time I see that is all I want to think of is I want my own Lego set.
Of you from The Mandalorian?
Of me. Yeah, well, from whatever it is that I'm doing, not The Mandalorian. But
Right. Okay. Well, hey. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, hey.
Hey.
So welcome to the show. We've got JJ Dashnaw and Natalie Padilla, straight from the Mandoverse and from specifically the Ahsoka series. Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We're really excited to talk to you tonight because we have a banger of an episode. This is the season 1, confirmed now, season 1 finale episode of Ahsoka. We'll be watching starting at 10 o'clock tonight and leading up to that for the next half an hour or so. We're going to chat with our guests. Let me introduce real quick who's here on the show with us. We've got Skip and Jeff and Dave, all familiar faces here on the network, but we're going to get to know you guys a little bit better and talk about what an awesome season finale episode this was.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you back, and thank you for bringing a very special guest. So, Natalie, please tell everyone who's tuning in and seeing you for the first time here on the network, your role in the Ahsoka show, and specifically in this episode. I know you did some heavy lifting.
I did. So I was a co-stunt coordinator on Ahsoka, and on this episode specifically, I got to double Morgan Elsbeth for the final fight, which was absolutely amazing, which I'm sure we'll get into more detail later. But yeah, it was amazing.
It sounds incredible. I mean, Diana's incredible. I know she's a trained martial artist. Do you have a background in martial arts yourself?
I actually don't. I started doing martial arts once I got into stunts, which was about 15 years ago. So I have, a couple of years under my belt, and specifically in stunt fighting, and have done a lot of sword work in the past. But yeah, this one was a fight, and Diana killed it as well.
Yeah, it's one of the best lightsaber fights, I would say, throughout all of Star Wars. JJ, were you involved in the choreography of the fight at all?
I wish I was. Ming Q, who was our fight coordinator, she was our, wushu expert. So she came up with all this stuff. I was there to make sure everything was, stayed along the storyline, and that Natalie wasn't being a wuss or anything. I had to make sure she did stuff.
And you'd have to step up and be in the fight.
Exactly. Yeah, no. So that was it on that one.
Oh, fantastic. I got to tell you, we've talked about this fight numerous times over across the network. We covered Ahsoka when it first aired. We're doing this rewatch right now. We still come back to that fight because it goes for a very long time, and there's a lot of ground that you cover. There's multiple weapons. You have the Blade of Talzin. Natalie, did you know what the Blade of Talzin was when it was handed to you, and like the background of where it came from in Clone Wars and all of that?
I wish I could say, but I did not. But I did learn a lot on the prop masters and like Dave and everyone. And so I got to know it a little bit better, and then obviously willed it. So it was interesting getting to help create it too, with like not the shape, but like the handles and stuff like that, being able to fight with that weapon specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got a weird curve to it, and I know it glows on screen. It's got an amazing special effect to it. What did it feel like? Was it super heavy? Because it looks like it's got some heft to it.
Mm-hmm.
It does. So originally the hilt was very, very heavy, and it was very thick, so it was hard to hold on to. So we kind of had to adjust for certain things for this fight specifically. I think in other areas that they had shown the sword, it was how it was supposed to be, and then for this fight, we ended up kind of a little bit so that we were able to, make it go as fast as we wanted it to, and it wasn't like breaking our shoulders and all that, and that we could last hours and hours fighting on set.
We're going to ask you more about that and the training and everything that goes into it. So I actually work, I'm a licensee as well. So I often hear the phrase hero prop versus stunt prop. So I can picture it in my head now of like the up close, like hero shots of how detailed and intricate and probably heavy it was. And then the stunt version is a little more breakaway, a little bit lighter usually, right? Like what's the material on like the stunt version? It's not a foam, I would think.
JJ?
No,
That's probably a
it's
better
not.
question for
And
JJ, right?
it was a lot of trial and error. We even with Mandalorian, our prop guys are so great, but we kind of worked over the years about, what works with weight and, what is durable, that can last, because, we do these fights over and over and over again. So, I would guess I would say this was kind of like a hard plastic, where it's still, there's consequences if you hit your, other person that you're fighting with, but obviously it's not a blade and sharp, and, so we're not going to, seriously injure somebody.
Mm-hmm. It looks really real every time we watch it back, and it's as I was saying before, one of the best lightsaber fights. There's actually quite a few awesome fights throughout the entire series. And JJ, I think you mentioned this one a while ago. Ahsoka versus Balin is just so incredible, and it's this like slow burn and almost like head games. Can you talk a little bit about crafting that specific interaction, because it's beyond a fight? I feel like that's a battle of wits as well. It's like a chess game playing out.
It's a chess game, and what's rad about working with Dave and Jon Favreau is it's not, they don't care that much about coming up with this epic fight and stuff. Every fight that they are trying to shoot and film is telling a story, or it has to do with the storyline. So that's the main thing with us, is to come up with these really cool stuff and move, but also make sure that we're still telling the story that we're trying to tell. Each fight is different. Each fight has a different tone, with depending on which character's fighting who. So that was the main, I mean, I wouldn't say challenge, but it's kind of fun. It keeps us on our toes, and just it keeps us honest with making sure that we're coming up with fresh stuff, but also making sure that we're staying within the content of the story.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of story in Ahsoka. We were doing our recaps, and it was like, we've got Night Sisters, we've got Grand Admiral Thrawn, we've got zombie stormtroopers, we've got Sabine and Ezra and Ahsoka, and the world between worlds. We've got Anakin Skywalker, live action from the Clone Wars, and we've got Mortiscods. It's almost like, where do you start on all of this? And a lot of them have major stunt work that goes into it. Can you tell us a little bit? And this is a question for both of you guys. Do you have a favorite sequence of stunts that you worked on? And it can be across all 8 of the episodes, or which one was your most memorable?
Go ahead, Nat.
I really liked the one with Anakin Skywalker and with Ahsoka, and how it went back and forth from when he was little and older, and the whole kind of like dream sequence. I thought that was great, and them training together I thought was just fantastic. I guess they had actually known each other. They were 16 in acting school, so like even seeing like that, it almost like has that presence in the fight, because they like in the story they knew each other obviously from when they were younger, and it was her master and all that. So I don't know, it was that was probably my favorite fight of the show.
Yeah, that was a cool episode. All that whole entire episode. I was actually, the reason I asked Natalie to come on this one is I was actually pretty proud of her for this fight that's in episode 8, because it was a lot. It was a lot of moves. We actually broke it into 2 sequences. So they learned the fight, the first half of it, for 6 weeks, and then we took a break, and they learned the back half of it. It was a lot of moves, and they did it several times, and I was proud of both girls, Natalie and Michelle, our stunt double, and our actresses. Our actresses learned the entire thing. They put so much hard work into all this stuff. You know, we usually get actors for a day, so they kind of learn a couple moves. They work their butts off. They'd work all day on set, and then come over and get the regular clothes on and come train with us for 2 hours before they went home. So there was just a lot of hard work that went into this one.
And it shows the payoff was there for sure. I feel like I'm asking all the questions, but I would like to get the chat involved, and of course the other hosts as well. So if anyone is in the chat has a question for JJ or for Natalie, doesn't even need to be 100% stunt focused. I know I pulled up their IMDb, so I have questions about other movies that I want to ask them about too as we get into that. But I'm going to turn it over to Jeff and Dave and Skip if you guys have any questions for JJ and Natalie.
Well, I want to ask you both this question. This is one of our basic stock questions. JJ, I don't remember if you answered this when you were on before or not, but like, what is your gateway to Star Wars? How did you enter Star Wars? Like not working on Star Wars. Where did you come to know Star Wars? Both of you, whoever it was.
I mean, I'll be super honest. I was hired by Robert Rodriguez, who came on to do Boba Fett. That was my introduction to Star Wars. Obviously, I watched it as a kid and stuff, but I did not the whole realm of the entire universe. So I'm kind of a newbie to all this stuff, but I'm a quickly learning it all. But yeah, it's definitely been a ride just to learn just about everything, and there's just so many backstories and stuff, and it's you definitely have to do your homework in our department, just so we know exactly what we're doing, or like I said, what story we're trying to tell with each action sequence. So that's my how I got into it. Natalie, I don't know how you did.
I was gonna say it's a lot of content and a lot of backstory and spin-offs everywhere. I didn't get to spend a lot of my childhood movies. I was in the gymnastics gym all the time, so I was a little bit late also to the party. My husband is a huge Star Wars fan, so he made me watch all of the Star Wars in order, and we've probably done that twice now.
We like him.
Yeah.
In order.
That's the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was my intro, and then I got hired on by JJ for my first, and did a lot of like research on that, and then into Ahsoka.
JJ, you mentioned you were brought on by Robert Rodriguez. I'm seeing in your IMDb you worked on Grindhouse. I love the Grindhouse double feature. I got to tell you, I think that Death Proof is one of it's one of my favorite. I want to call it an action movie. It's not, but it's I don't even know how to describe it. Did you work on the stunts for that with Zoe Bell and that whole crew?
No, I did. My dad was actually a stunt coordinator on that one. I did more of the Grindhouse. I was on a different project for the whole Death Proof, but my father obviously coordinated it. My mom doubled the girl driving the car, so that's I kind of come from a background of a stunt family, so we've been working with Robert since I think my dad did Spy Kids was the first movie he did with Robert.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and my first movie with Robert was Spy Kids 2 right out of high school, so I was still 18, and I've worked on every film since then with Robert, and he's definitely one of my favorites.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So Natalie, we're getting ready to watch the finale, and we know, as we've been discussing, that you had a big part in that. When you get somebody like Diane, who is a martial artist, do you find that they want to try and get into that scene as much as possible, or do as much of the action themselves, or do you find that they're just quite all right with the stunt folks stepping in and taking care of things?
I think that Diana, she was such a go-getter. She wanted to. She was like, we're making this character together. So if there's something that you're better at, or this is something, she was like, you take that show, but I want, she worked as hard as she did and did a lot by herself. And I think it was just having a collab of both of us, and with zero ego from her or me. Like, just, I was going to let her do whatever she needed to do. We just wanted to make the scene as best as possible. So I think that was like our goal. So as long as that's what we gave, then we didn't care what part, who did what part.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got lucky with Rosario and Diana. I mean, they were awesome. They like and Natalie said they worked their butts off, but they also know that it's our job to make them look good. So there wasn't any egos by either gal. And what was rad is we got to plug them in for all the important stuff, and they knew what it was. So definitely two of my favorite people to work with as far as the stunt fight goes.
And we know Rosario will be back for Ahsoka season 2. I would love to see Diana in something else, in maybe even in Star Wars. And you know what? Sometimes in Star Wars, death is a promotion.
Yeah.
Ghosts exist in a big way. She is a Night Sister. We are certainly
Right.
headed to Dathomir.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't count her out just yet. And there's always a flashback. If Hayden
Yeah.
Christensen is back on my television in the year of our Lord 2024, anything is possible. So we have a couple questions in the chat. Liberty Timmons wanted to know if you have a favorite project to work on in general. It doesn't necessarily need to be Star Wars. So if you'd like to talk about anything else both of you have illustrious resumes, by the way. So I highly recommend anyone in the chat to check out the IMDb's and see some of the projects if you have specific questions on. I actually have a ton about Wonder Woman. But you guys feel free to jump in with whichever one of your favorites.
Go ahead, Nat. You first, buddy.
I would actually say Wonder Woman is probably my favorite movie to work on. We got to film in London and Italy, and it was just a bunch of awesome women, and we had a small group from the U.S. But we got to train most of the background hands, and put all that together. It was really spread throughout the film, so I feel like we had a lot of hands-on of helping and training, and then being aliens ourselves, and yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. I've done quite a few, but I did Lone Survivor. Still, to me, is probably the favorite film I've ever done, just because the story we told and just the stuff that we did. Like I said, I've been doing stunts since I was 8 years old, so I like the hard stunts, the stuff that people don't want to do. And that definitely, we did all the cliff falls on that show. So that show to me was probably my favorite to work on as a whole. But Natalie and I both have had been blessed over the years to do a lot of fun projects. The last Die Hard that we did that over in Budapest. That was another fun one, just because there was everything you can think of as far as car stunts, high falls, fights, just everything. So we were very busy for 6 months, but mainly for me, work is work. We get to do a lot of cool stuff, but it's when you get on a really cool crew, which Robert Rodriguez is one of them, and Jon Favreau and the Star Wars family is probably the reason why I continue to come back, is just because it is that it's a family, and John and Dave create such a great work environment that it makes it a little easier for me to be, away from my family during the week to work, because I got my work family. So this crew and this Star Wars universe has been pretty awesome in my career, and definitely up there in the top.
Is there anything that either one of the two of you specialize in as far as stunts go?
JJ does everything. Nobody hits the ground harder than JJ does.
I don't know if that's a compliment, but yeah. Yeah, no, I always this. I always say this. I'm really good at a lot of different things. I wouldn't say I specialize in anything. I don't ever want to be labeled as a specialist in anything, because you the more you can do stuff and be universal, and the more skill set you have, the busier you are and you work. So I've tried my hardest not to get labeled as a specialist in any certain category, and I just try to just be pretty good at a lot of different stuff.
And you are. Yeah, I was a gymnast, and so I feel like I guess I don't try to get labeled, but I end up doing a lot of the fight shows, fight movies, stuff like that.
Excellent.
So I know JJ's been on camera as a character that looks like JJ. Have you gotten to do anything like that, Natalie?
Not yet, but hoping for the future.
There we go.
And
always
how uncomfortable were you doing that when you did that, JJ, versus what you're used to doing, and
I mean,
coming in?
it doesn't bother me, but Filoni, he's so funny. I was asking him, hey, who do you want for this right now, or what kind of person is it? And he just like pointed at me, and I was like, seriously. And no, so everyone had quite a field day with me doing that whole thing, but
Well,
So-
we
part of the
love the
deal.
deputy.
Was he purposely making you like the smarmy guy that from minute one? Oh, he's dead.
Oh,
That
for
dude,
sure.
that's gone.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, Dave's something else. He's pretty funny.
What was it
Well-
like filming opposite Timothy Oliphant? Because he was your scene partner for that whole thing, and he's got such a coolness about him,
Mhm.
and he seems like he's really fun on set too.
He was great. I hate saying this, but a lot of stunt people aren't that great on camera, and when they have to act with actors, he was pretty funny. He was messing with me the whole time, but tell me, dude, you're actually pretty good. I was like, whatever, dude. Let's get through this right now. But he was awesome. I had a blast with him. Super nice guy, and obviously, what a talent. And
Mhm.
he was super helpful. He's like, hey, try this, try that. So I was like, man, whatever gets me out of here quicker. So
I have a feeling we'll see him again based on the stinger end credits scene. And then once he finds out that his deputy is gone, though, I think that will be the crushing moment. That'll be his Emmy clip as he cries.
yeah, absolutely. There'll be no dry eyes around. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
I did want to ask you guys. So you mentioned you did a movie together. It was the Die Hard movie. How did you two find each other, and how did you link together for projects?
Yeah, I didn't mean she didn't do that one with me. Natalie and I have worked together over the years just on different stuff, and she's like that annoying little sister that you never want
Rid
for
of.
sure. But no, but she's a huge help, and she keeps me in line as far as stuff that helps. And you talk about all the storylines and stuff. My brain gets going so in so many different directions. She was a huge help just to keep everything in line and just keep all my ducks in order and stuff. So Natalie's definitely been a help with me over the years.
Oh, it's the nicest thing you've ever said.
Well, I had to. I was forced into a corner.
Yeah.
He practiced
they-
it before he came on.
And I know they just announced The Acolyte is coming out in June. Are you guys able to talk about that show at all, or if you worked on it at all? And again, if everything's secret and you're not allowed to talk about it, that's fine too. I'm as a licensee, and so I'm well aware of the restrictions from Disney and secrecy and confidentiality.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Yeah, no, to be honest, we did not work on that one, and I don't have very much info to give. But yeah, I've learned over the years of working here that it's just better not to say anything until it comes out. Just you just never
Yeah.
know what is okay and what is not okay to say before it comes out. So
I think that's a good strategy too, because you never know, like scenes get changed, storylines get
Right.
updated. Yeah, I know there are actors who full scenes have been removed and things like a lot of changes. I was a licensee back at Topps, the trading card company, in 2014 as they were getting ready for episode 7 before it even had a name yet. And I remember getting like story beats as to like what was going to come for the movie, but they wouldn't tell us everything. The amount of secrecy and the insanity around it. We had to like fly out to Disney, go into a locked room, windows closed, and even then just getting assets watermarked with my name on it. I was like, oh, it's up on the internet, like someone's fired and we know who.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, it is. I mean, he's not exaggerating. We have to sign NDAs for everything. Any script pages we have has our name written right across. So if that leaks out, it's pretty hard to deny where that came from.
I did a Zoom today, and you put in your email address to log in, and then it automatically digitally watermarks the screen, so you can't take pictures with your phone or anything. Not that I would do that, but that kind of thing. I was like, again, because they've got security protocols like wild.
They do. It's they've definitely got it dialed. That's for sure. I think I think Boba Fett, when had the Rancor in somewhere, someone took a photo of it and posted it. Within 5 minutes, they were tracked down and let go. So it's definitely very top secret, all the stuff. So we definitely obey those rules.
Absolutely. We don't want to spoil anything for anyone.
Yeah.
You know, we want to enjoy it together as a community. You know, we
Yep.
want to watch it and then dissect it to death, and then rewatch it and ask more questions.
Absolutely.
Which we're going to be getting ready to do in a couple of minutes. So for everyone in the chat, now's a good time to get your Disney Plus up and running. It's the Ahsoka show, season 1, episode 8, the finale. And then once we hit play on the episode, we'll obviously talk about it throughout. And I want to get some play by play. What I love about stunt work is there's a lot of how to behind the scenes. How did we make this work? So if there's anything in particular that you guys have some good, interesting little tidbits of info of how you guys are able to accomplish the illusion that is shared with us, that would be fantastic to learn about.
Cool. Natalie's great at that, so she's going to be on top of this.
Excellent.
That's why he invited her.
The technical support. Yes. So Natalie, are you the tech expert on set? You know how to essentially storyboard this kind of stuff?
I mean, that stuff's already set up for us, but I mean, I just, annoy JJ all day long, make sure it's done and doing it correctly so that we can be most efficient.
There you go. Excellent. So Dave, are you doing a switch over on Instagram?
So I think on Instagram we have been really good here lately in that it has gone beyond the hour that it is supposed to only give us. Okay. So if you are watching with us on Instagram Live, no, we're just going to keep going, and we're going to hope that it goes beyond the hour. Right now we're at about 26 minutes. When we're at about 55 minutes, I'll warn you that maybe it's going away and you can join us back over on the YouTube channel, but we're just going to try and roll with one Instagram Live this evening.
Cool.
Sweet.
All right. And so
we're on every channel. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram. You can't miss us.
And we will do a little 10-second countdown before we start the episode. No need to skip any intros or anything. We like to watch the last week on, so to speak, and keep your volume down if you can. So we put up those subtitles so we don't get any internet tags on Facebook or whatever. Copyright tags are no fun when they pull our streams down. So just be cautious of that for us, and we'll appreciate it. I'm gonna bring up a countdown here momentarily, and once it gets down to the play, then that's time to hit play on Disney Plus.
When you guys see the spaceship on the actual show, tell me so I can hit play.
Okay. We will notify you, and here we go.
Boom. And there we are in the recap.
There's a spaceship.
On Mothma, previously on Ahsoka.
And so anything that jars a memory of filming any of the stuff we've in this series, feel free to jump in and give us the lowdown.
All right.
Copy.
Timestamps on the screen there, Spencer.
Why is Spencer in the chat? Aren't you on vacation, sir?
I believe I have said that in the chat already.
Yeah, indeed. Spencer is the ultimate lurker.
So JJ, you had mentioned that you come from a family of stunt people, and you were working on Spy Kids 2 at 18 years old.
Yes.
That's incredible. How did your parents get into this? How did this become part of the bloodline?
My dad started out as a teamster, a driver, and he kind of went in, made friends with the stunt people when he was in his 20s. He doubled Steven Seagal growing up, or in his early life. My mom was Kim Basinger stunt double, so that's how they met in the industry. So yeah, that was kind of it. I started doing it when I was 8 years old. My very first stunt, I actually killed my mother on camera. So that was pretty cool as an 8-year-old.
What movie was this?
Little psychotic
That's a nice way
kid.
to start.
Yeah, it
No
was awesome.
scoring for you, JJ.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Natalie,
Wow.
I'm sure you didn't kill a parent on screen, but what was your introduction to stunt work?
So my first show was Make It or Break It. It was a show about gymnastics, and so I was a gymnast at UCLA, and so they had called UCLA to get some gymnasts to come do the show as stunt people, and I had no idea what stunts was, and that's how I got into it. I was like, oh, this is cool. Met other stunt people on set, met the stunt coordinator, and just started training from there. That was about 15 years ago now. Crazy.
Wow.
It flew by, but yeah, that's how I got.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Are you guys on the episode yet, or are you still in the recap?
Elsbeth and Thrawn are talking currently.
Yep.
Yep, we're at the 240 mark.
240 mark. All right, perfect.
Yeah, the
So do your
timestamps
friends and
a
family,
little
when
rough.
they find out what they do they pester you for information or knowledge, or do they leave you alone?
Who is this? I'm so sorry.
No. If your friends and family, when they realize what you do they pester you for information?
I mean, yeah, they do, and I think that's part of our. When I'm off work, I don't like talking about work pretty much, just because I've got 2 children and a wife that require some attention as well. But I also understand that not everyone's used to what this is, and it's it's our, it's kind of our job to kind of enlighten them and stuff. But now everyone's pretty cool. Everyone's pretty cool about it.
So this set that we're watching, Elsbeth and Thrawn and everyone on, I know a lot was shot in the volume, but this looks
Yep.
like a gigantic space. How much of this was practical versus how much was like filled in with green screen and stuff?
I mean, this is on the volume right here. This set right here. So, it was all a big set piece right there, and then obviously the background. That's the volume screen right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you've just got the space between the 4 pillars is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yep.
So the volume itself has kind of evolved since you've worked on it. Am I wrong about that? Has it got larger or different shapes sort of over the different episodes or series and stuff?
I don't think so. I mean, since I've been there, it's all on the same stage, and it's all
okay.
pre-built. It's just they're always tweaking it and getting more sophisticated as far as what they can shoot, and like the lighting and the coloring, and what it can actually do. But Boba Fett was actually the first show I've ever been on the volume. It's pretty spectacular, that's for sure.
Yeah, they do have like a wall that they can like fly in and out too, to kind of make it more than just
Oh, okay.
it, kind of like overlap a little bit more.
Right.
So for both of you, last week when Paul was on, we were just fascinated to find out like how many this and that and masks and costumes and whatnot he's been in. For both of you, in turn, run through like some of the costumes and some of the character pieces that you've been in doing stunts.
Go ahead, Nat.
In Star Wars.
Yep.
Sure.
I mean, I was a bunch of the Mando characters in the last season of Mandalorian. I mean, and they're just so elaborate. You kind of get used to it. I remember thinking, because you have like very little vision, and doing a fight on the show, and I was like, man, I can't wait to just fight a real fight where I can actually see, and it was like dark in there too, and I'm like, I can't see anything, and you're like, but you have like foam pieces in the helmet to kind of make sure that it doesn't like knock out, so then you have like no vision at all. So it's everything, and they have like a little chin strap to kind of keep that thing on, and you kind of get used to it though. It kind of feels a little claustrophobic at first, and then you just kind of get used to putting it on every day.
So what characters were you? Were you just some of the Mandalorians in the background doing that sort of work?
Yeah, some of those. I also doubled Mercedes.
Yeah.
No. Very specific, Mando.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. She doubled him. I started out. I did all the Boba Fett full body armor stuff, just because Tama would have 2-3 hours of makeup every day. So you'd put that mask on. Obviously, it would mess it up. So that was my first start. And then I doubled Axe Axe in Mandalorian season 3. I double Mando every once in a while if it's a couple different units going, just because Latif is one person and can't go everywhere. So I'll hop in and do that. I've been a stormtrooper, so I've definitely been in everything a time or two.
I mean, I feel like you jumped in for like the Alamite fight too. Remember that?
Oh shoot, yeah, the Alamite season, what was that, season 3? Yeah, we had a guy tweak his ankle, and the suits are made for 5'9", 5'10" guys, and I look around, there's no one there. I'm like, well, I guess I'll get in the freaking suit. So ran and got in that friggin' caveman suit and had to do a fight and coordinate. That was, yeah, I had a blast. A blast that day. Sarcasm, if you can't hear.
Yeah,
Just a little.
picking that up just a little bit.
Mando season 3 was incredible. I think the quantity of Mandos on screen, the amount of armor, the amount of helmets, the amount of action. It was definitely the most action-packed season. How did you keep track of all of that movement, especially in the big group fight scenes with everyone? Does it just become a bit of like a chaotic mess, and you're like, the viewers won't notice? Or is it very like mapped out?
No, it's pretty mapped out, and we just do it in sections, and it's yeah, I mean, it was, you are right, there was a lot of work in that one, and we did most of it practical. It just, we were busy, that's for sure. We'd have 30 people in suits sometimes, and just trying to keep track of everybody and make sure everybody's moving right and looking good. It's definitely it's a lot of work, that's for sure.
That's right.
And you mentioned doubling for Simon.
Yes.
For Axe. And
Yes.
Natalie, you were doubling for Mercedes, aka Sasha Banks,
Mhm.
my forever world champion.
Absolutely.
I know they've had some scenes together and some fights together. Did you guys ever get to fight either with each other in stun or against each other? Because that's got to be a blast.
Yeah, no, I think we fought in a couple scenes together. Natalie and I never fought each other. I fought Joanna, who doubled
Bo.
Bo-Katan in episode 6, I think, at the end.
Oh,
That
that's a fight.
That was a fun one for sure.
Yeah.
I was directing second unit, coordinating and fighting in that one. So that
Wow.
was another.
Is that where you're having your heavy falls? Because
Yes.
Simon goes down in that episode.
Yes. Yeah. No, I got my butt kicked. That's for sure.
Yeah. It looks like it hurts. I got to tell you, as a viewer, as someone who loves sci-fi and genre and everything, like the stunts in Star Wars really do look believable, and you can tell. You watch other sci-fi shows sometimes, and it just looks all very fake and silly. Like those punches look like they land. When the people hit the ground, it looks like they hit the ground. So you guys are doing really convincing work.
Yeah, well, thank you, and that's the goal, and I think that's why John likes us all very much, is because I'm very much come from a old school background, from my parents, and I know that's what John really likes too. So I try to bring that as much as possible. And if someone's not doing something quite as hard as I would like it, I usually will throw a suit on or whatever and do it myself.
Get it done right.
I think
So Jonathan Notman, who's watching along and sometimes is a host, was missing out on tonight. He's got a question for you, Natalie. What's been your most memorable moment that you've done work on or had to do work for? It doesn't have to be Star Wars, just your most
open it
memorable
up
moment.
to everything you've done.
memorable work. Like as a show or as just like as a stunt?
For you. What's been the most memorable thing for you? Not so much what we would all know, but what you remember and love the most.
I mean, honestly, this fight was one of my absolute favorites. I think
Well, there we go.
Very challenging, a very unique style of fighting, and I feel like Dave. I wanted Dave to be happy, and it's also the finale. It's like you want to end big.
You got to bring it.
Yeah. And you have to make it look believable and look like you're tired when you're supposed to look tired, and look like you're winning when you're winning, and defeated when you're defeated, and then your comeback. And it's like it's all in the acting as well, physical acting, so we put a lot into it. And I think I just was proud of it.
Yeah,
He's a very, very important character for Dave. I mean, Dave, so Natalie definitely, I think, did the character justice and stuff. But it does add a whole nother level of pressure when you have someone like Dave, that this is basically his baby. Um, so a lot of hard work went into this. And Natalie, I mean, she's being humble right now, but she put a lot of work in it. I was very proud of her.
So ballpark for me, like, we see this on stage and or on screen, and it occurs over a couple of minutes.
Mhm.
How long does that take to make that couple of minutes?
Well, it took 6 weeks of training. Ming, and there's one thing about Ming Q, she is not an easy teacher. She grew up, in a very hardcore regiment style growing up. So she makes everybody work. So now, was it 3 weeks for each fight, or was it 6? I can't remember.
I
For
feel
the
like
same fight.
longer than 3 weeks for sure that we started training.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm gonna say it was 4 to 5 weeks for each section. And there's 2 sections of the fight, and it was a solid day and a half of shooting each one. So I would say in total for both fights, it was 3 days total to shoot it. So
Yeah.
that's how much it goes into just getting those few minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
JJ, you said you kind of leaned on the fact that when you get home, you put all this away, and wife and the rest of your life has got to take over. What do you do to decompress outside of work?
I golf. My kids are both in travel sports right now, so that is me and my wife's full-time job.
Mm.
So when I come home, I'm going one way for baseball, and she's going the other way for soccer. So it's a circus, that's for sure. We live in Austin, Texas, so I work Monday through Friday in LA on this, and I usually will fly home Friday night and then fly back either late Sunday night or on the first flight Monday morning to be back and start all over again during the week.
That's an agonizing schedule, but I hear Austin's a pretty cool town.
Yeah, man, it's great. And again, Robert Rodriguez, Spy Kids too. I fell in love with it ever since I came out here when I was 18, 19. So, once my kids came to, or got to elementary age, me and my wife moved out here, and, we're pretty happy with our decision. They're actually
Natalie,
going
are
to
you
walk through the
in?
door. They're actually going to walk through the door here in a little bit, coming from practice. So my dogs will probably sound off. So.
Oh, yeah.
No worries.
We
They,
got a few of
they
those
can
in
come
my
on
house.
camera and wave hello.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, somebody comes to the door at my house. There are 2 dogs that are their job is the German Shepherd is like, I have one job, and that is to bark at everybody that comes to the front door.
Perfect. Yeah, they're crushing it.
There you
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Now, Natalie, are you in Los Angeles?
I am in LA. Yeah, I'm actually right by the studios. It was
Oh,
like
that's
yeah.
convenient. Yeah.
3 minutes from my house. It was actually that also made the show really great.
Okay, so Paul was telling us that's his big deal, is that he's close, and anytime anything goes wrong, there's like, we need somebody in a suit. Show up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the kind of deal for you too. It's like,
Yeah, it was just so easy. I mean, I live even closer than Paul does, so I could be there if I really wanted to. It was great.
Paul definitely is. He's one of our MVPs for sure. He just one of those sizes. He fits in every suit, and he's just so dang talented and
Sure.
and just such a great guy. That Diddy's awesome.
He got a pretty cool character to play and be the character, kind of the person in the suit.
He did. He got that role, which was pretty cool. He also was the main Shriek Hawk in season 3 of Mandalorian. I mean, he's just got that movement that he plays heroes all the time.
That's cool.
Yeah, the Marat character was so fluid. There was something that he moved almost like the magic moves, like
Right.
that, almost like he was dancing on water kind of thing. I couldn't describe it, but it was super well done. And I remember the discourse around that character when the first poster came out or whatever it was. Who is he? Is it Ezra? Is it some secret character? And then it's like just some guy.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what he was going through all that, being like, I can't say anything. It's like, but that character blew up for that reason. I think he got a pop figure now because of it.
Oh, did he? Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
He's really good with movement.
Yeah.
Different ways, yeah.
Natalie, size-wise, are you? I would, Diana's kind of shorter, isn't she? She in the.
Oh, we were about the same, like 5'5".
Okay.
Or I don't know.
So you're sitting down. We can't tell. You just look tall from the screen. See, I'm tall, so I presume everybody else around me is tall.
She just has big attitude. That's all.
Well, there you go.
There we go.
Project the tallness.
Projects a big image on the screen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What kind of practical element was there for these hounds that they're riding on set?
So we did we had horses and we were out in the back lot. So a lot of this is horses. For the up close stuff of them riding, like all that, them taking off double riders. I had stunt people doing that. We also had some the horse rig from Seabiscuit, the motion capture horse. We had that there on track to get a lot of the close up stuff for the actors. But yeah, we did a lot of horse stuff in our.
I was about to say, I know my horses are old, but they don't move at all like those dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot that went into that because, they're night howler, they're not horses. They don't move exactly like that, but we want to use horses. So it was a lot of trial and error, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Just
you
something
see
to create
some
that rocking back and
like
forth.
when they're coming right at you here, that looks, and you can kind of see the horse gate on there.
Yes.
And I assume sometimes when you see them from the side, that might be the difference in what's practical and what's CG. Is they look a little bit more like wolves loping or something like that.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they're probably more easier to put that type of thing on top of what's already there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Depending on the shot.
Yeah.
And for the horse riding, is that something where you would have a stunt actor doing most of that and then just do some tight close-ups on the actors?
Yes, we would do all the hard actual riding with our doubles, and then the stuff on their face, we would put them on that horse machine that I was telling you about. That and have them do that, all that close-up stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This is amazing. By the skin of their teeth, they get it.
Barely made it.
Ezra still has that like smirk about him, though. He's like, "Oh, did it again." He just like fumble. I love Star Wars Rebels. I actually host a show on the network all about Rebels, and so Ezra's one of my favorite characters, and he just always seems to like make it through. I know that's how he's written. He's meant to be sort of like a little bit lucky like that. And then Ahsoka is just unstoppable. That's Dave's baby. She's going wherever she needs to go. She's going.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ezra was a cool cat. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So famously, in like the first season of Mandalorian, they called on the 501st to come and sort of pad the stormtrooper population that they had. Did they do anything like that? Because there's a lot of stormtroopers in this scene, or was that, sort of what they built over time and had available to use versus trying to get other sources? Or do you know anything about that?
Oh, I'm sorry. As far as the costumes.
Well, in terms of like, I know they used physical 501st members in their own suits in that Moff Gideon scene. Did they do anything similar in terms of calling on like a population to come and sort of fill the ranks?
I think so. I can't remember too much. Now, do you remember that, buddy?
I mean, how many people we had.
What he's I think trying to get at is are these all people that work for the production in the suits, or did you guys have to call in extras that would be just like Star Wars fans that have their own suits and stuff?
No. They borrowed some. I think they borrowed some of this from Rebel Moon. Some of these costumes, but we would have probably 15 to 20 stunt people. We would recycle them. And then, for the guys kind of in the deeper background, not so close to the action, those would be extras, and they would just always stay on the on the outside. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, these were most of my guys that died about 8 or 10 different times.
That's very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, because I think like
This
one
hosting
of
is creepy.
the people in this, I think listed as a night trooper, we announced today for the Boonta Eve special edition
There
is
he is.
Warren. There is the night trooper. I don't think that's his actual suit that are in there. I think his had a little bit more gray on it. From
He's got a big gray chest piece.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think I saw him walk by a moment ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
but they're on there. But these are people available to be meeting at the Boonta Eve special edition, and there may be others. Hmm. Hmm.
We shall see.
Yeah, we'll be making some more announcements not too long.
Perfect.
I love all these different colored blades in this fight.
Yeah. Definitely keeps it busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
Got their own
principally the
style, too.
actors that are doing a lot of that work, that they've done the training so that you can get those good close-up scenes with them and the sabers.
You know what, Ezra especially, he's an athlete. I think his background actually is tennis, but he did most of his stuff. Only times we really doubled him is when he had to kind of fall down hard or get, in the episode 7 in that pod circle fight, get slammed into a couple things. But that was all him. He worked his butt off too, and
Yeah.
I would say 95% of his stuff was all him.
Well, I think it's bound to make it give the more realism when you can actually get the saber glow on the actual face of the actor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Does anyone else feel bad for Elsbeth in this moment? Like, I know we're not supposed to sympathize with her, but like, I just love her so much, and I was like, damn it! Like, I knew she wasn't gonna make it back. Like that little moment right there.
Mark.
I know,
Bad guy.
but I'm a dark side guy, and I
Darth
just
Von
love her, Darth Von Ohlen. Also, like, it's so unfair. They like called her over there through dreams to make her to leave her there, and everyone else gets out. It's just like, oh,
To take one for the team.
yeah. You got to bring that anger into the fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These guys are relentless.
So how did you guys give direction to the zombie stormtroopers? We're calling them zombies, by the way, but like, they're reanimated. It's magic with a J. Like, they do move a little funky.
They move different, that's for sure. A little trial and error, Dave. No, not like that. This isn't Walking the Dead, and it was it was, like I said, a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But the guys, we're pretty lucky to have some of the best people in the business working for us. And we try to keep the same crew just to kind of keep things consistent.
It seems like a lot of the productions are very much sort of a family of all parts of the production.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, here we go.
Right,
This is the part where we want you to start telling us about what's going on. We're sword fighting here back and forth.
Yeah, everything was just very specific. It was kind of also like a mind game. I feel like similar to like Balin. It's like they've met before. This is like they're pretty equal in a lot of ways, and now she has this powerful sword that she really thinks that she's going to be able to take her out.
Right.
That this is her end. And they're kind of matched, tit for tat, like this whole time.
Very much so.
Yeah, and are these blaster bolts? Is this for like practical squibs going off and sparks here there?
Yes. Now we would put a lot of that stuff on the armor. Some of it is CG, but we would do a lot of it just because the lighting of it all just kind of lights up the room and just definitely makes a different. And a lot of stuff too with this fight too, you'll notice if it's on an actor's face, like with Diana and Rosario, if it's on Rosario and we're mostly on Diana's back, that's most of the time we'll have the actor fight with our stunt double, just to give it a little bit of energy and help them out and stuff. They didn't fight each other too much in the same scene. It would either be Natalie versus Rosario or Michelle versus Diana.
Yeah.
That's got to be safer for everyone too, to
It's
have like
safe.
one
It is.
professional, like
Yes,
Definitely.
absolutely it is, and that's the main reason we do. Dave's pretty good, and the directors are good about it, but every once in a while we'll just throw that word out there and just say, "Hey, this is safer. We need to do it like this," and they're very good about listening to us about that.
Yeah. I mean, if it's on their back, there's really no reason to
Yeah.
give that and them getting hurt because they're the ones that are needed.
Definitely.
Which is cool about all these actors. We not this show, but other shows. You get that actor who's got the ego and wants to do it all, and they don't understand they're making themselves look not as good in the character,
Right.
and it's also, like we said before, it can be a little bit more dangerous.
And it can be tiring, and they save themselves for the close-ups,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's the Tom Cruise effect. Ever since he said he did his stunts in Mission Impossible, every other actor has to follow suit. I don't pretend to be an expert in anything outside of my realm at work. I'm not about to go over and like design something when I'm the business side. So I'm going to leave that to the experts.
Yeah. Well, not everyone's like you, buddy. Unfortunately, we appreciate it.
Got to put their 2 cents in.
Always.
I will
There's
say though,
always.
I would be that guy though who'd want to try everything dangerous. I'm like, oh, there's like a harness to fly me up into like the thing. Sure, why not? Like that sounds great. I'm sure I'd be terrible at it, but like
Yeah.
I would want to do it because I'd be the little kid on on set.
Oh, absolutely. No,
More like
that's
it's fun, not that it's good.
Yeah, this isn't going to
That's
help
it.
in any way, but I do want to be included.
Yeah, it's a
So
free ride.
yeah,
It's a free
Waste
ride.
everybody's time. Have a good time while you're
Don't even
doing it.
run the film. Let's just take a shot at me flying through the air just so I can see what it's like.
okay, this stunt coming up with Ezra being force pushed through.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he must have jumped some amount of distance. Like this is obviously all mostly special effect, but was there any wire work involved?
No, there was all. I mean, everything you see was actually him and his body. Obviously, they shrank him down and elongated his flight, but we had him on a traveling rig and had him run and actually do all this. This was all him. I mean, even the wide side shot was him, just again because he is one of those that is so athletic that you can shoot, and he is also one of those ones that wants to do everything. But yeah, that was a cool one. There was a couple of different parts. We would do his takeoff, we would do his landing, and then we would do that middle part where we'd take them and like get them to go down and then lead them back up again. So all that was real, and that's what's cool about this special effect or visual effects team is they'll have us do pretty much everything.
Good landing.
They enhance it.
You know that wasn't Diana doing that.
Yeah.
She wasn't hitting the ground that hard. No.
No.
And look, you broke
That was
one of her
Natalie getting smacked
lightsabers,
around.
girl. Like these lightsabers
Those
have
are
been through the
expensive.
Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. It made it all the way to here, and you sliced it right in half.
Yep.
This is a great episode. I get caught up in it and I can't think of things to ask.
Well, I was actually just going to say, now, is this the beginning of the second half of the fight? Is this where you're like, okay, now this is the second session of our training?
When she got to the top, like with the roll and the floor and all of that was a part of it.
Right.
This close hand to hand is crazy because you have these big long weapons that you think you'd be able to like keep a distance, but it's so almost close quarters. That's got to be intense.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The lightsaber, we had different sizes for it, so that we could, but then we had to be aware for the extension for CG and all that what it was really going to be, but for safety and all of that, so we could get closer and be as safe as possible. we did have a lightsaber that was a little bit shorter for Michelle and Ro.
I gotta say, bravo! That was an incredible fight.
Oh yeah, amazing.
So
You're gonna end up on
listicles.
listicles. You realize that, right? Like, there's gonna be these listicles of, like, they talk about all the
Best
big
lightsaber fights of all time.
yeah, it's gonna be on there. I think Obi-Wan versus Anakin at the end of episode 3 seems to hold steady at the top. People seem to really just love that one. There's an emotional connection to it, and it's also really long, and it's two of our favorite actors.
Like 20
but as that
minutes.
continues to get reevaluated and the new streams of content start getting added in, you're going to find yourself on one of these lists.
Cool.
Well, and you get that this is like grittier and closer combat and less like flashy, spinny.
Yeah.
It feels really real.
So was the blade you used, was it like one of those LED sabers that had some light on it, or was it just a physical blade looking prop?
No, it had a little bit of light to it, but they obviously like had the flames and all that added.
Right.
But that one was it was a bit shorter than the lightsaber.
Right.
So it was a little bit easier on me, although I did get really, really bad tennis elbow from it.
Lovely.
She didn't play tennis.
Yeah.
So we've been forgetting a little bit about the chat questions, and I'm sorry, people, because we get involved in this and we're watching the episode and looking. But
Jonathan's got a few.
Jonathan Notman has a question. Jonathan Notman has a lot of questions. But here's one: he's talking about Glenn Randall Jr., stunt coordinator for the original Star Wars movies. He's like, JJ, do you talk to, or I guess either of you, do you talk to other stunt coordinators that have been on other Star Wars properties, shows, and like tips, tricks, like the camaraderie with other coordinators? Or
not so much this show. I definitely do on other ones. This one, I pretty much just make sure that I'm checking with John and Dave. Those are the guys that matter, because they put their heart and soul into this. So they're not going to let us stray afar. So, our job is to make their vision come true, and leave all egos and everything else out that we may know out of it.
Yeah, we did a lot of show and tells with Dave.
Every fight was a show and tell with Dave.
Yeah.
Show and tell with it. So he brings out the action figures and he's like, this, you do this, and then no.
Yeah. We would do a live show. We would train and do all the moves in the fight, and then show him and everything, and he would sign off on it. First he would say, ooh, and be all pretty stoked about it all. But then, he'd give his 2 cents and a couple little tweaks, and then we would shoot it a day or two later.
See, that might be a little bit even cooler than what we all picture of John and Dave playing with action figures. Is like, you are John and Dave's action.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like, no, you do this. No, you go over there.
Yes, pretty much.
Very cool.
And now they're stranded.
Yeah. Broke down.
So Liberty was asking a question back a little while ago about the next bit where all the night troopers are falling down the stairs and Paul was talking about that and how that he kind of fell and went down pretty hard on that. Was that a plan pretty hard, or things
I think somebody was out of place.
Well, no, they better fall down hard, or else they're not asked back. So fortunately, everyone knows when they work for me, they're probably going to fall down pretty good.
JJ wouldn't ask you to do anything that he.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they didn't fall down hard enough, JJ would show them how.
Exactly.
I think that was one of the other things that Paul said too. Is like, you're taking turns, is like getting yanked down on the wires. So when you get yanked back and you fall down, is like, it's like I'm getting yanked on this one, but the next one I'm yanking JJ down and back and forth. And
you get your comeuppance.
Yeah, if you don't fall harder than your buddy, then what are you doing? It's always a competition.
I love me some turtle people.
Little hermit crab.
Yeah.
Just something about the little hermit crab guys they're just so funny.
They were pretty funny.
So those were all puppets, right?
Yep.
That's cool.
That's pretty amazing. That alone is just
The
like
practical element just, I think, lends that much more to everybody's,
Oh, absolutely.
ability to do what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so ready for more of Shin Hati in any stream of content. Hopefully, Ahsoka season 2. Did you guys, Natalie? Did you work on stunts with her as well?
Yeah, she was awesome. I mean, everyone, I don't even, there was just no bad apples on the whole show. Everybody worked so hard and put in so much time and effort all the time. I mean, they were even doing, not even just stunt training, but they were also doing, like, just had a physical trainer to come work them out to, like, stay in shape and all this stuff.
Right.
Keep them strong and on top of stunt training, on top of acting. No one ever had a bad attitude, ever.
Yeah. And there was a lot of hard work too. There was some times where they definitely could have had some attitude, and they were pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great to hear, because I think being fans, we always wonder, how are things working on set? And I gotta tell you, I've been a Star Wars licensee for over 10 years now, and all of the actors that we meet have been like just delightful across the
Yeah.
board, like the nicest people. Everyone who works on the show, the production team. It's why we're such big fans. That's why we have this, Facebook group where we're all obsessed with Star Wars, and we go to Star Wars Celebration and do all these things, because it's good not just in the content, but in like the people who make it, the people who participate in it. It's a nice ecosystem here.
Yeah, I think that comes from the top. That starts with John and Dave for sure.
yeah, the excellent attitude and the work ethic definitely comes out in the product. The product looks a whole lot better because of that, and it helps those of us who are on the fringe wanting to look in. That folks like yourselves will share the time that you got with us and give us just a little bit of a insight into what was happening behind it. It makes you feel more connected to your fandom.
Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That extra little touch, that nice little touch.
Well, and we're kind of like coming toward the tail end. It's like the little bonus extra scene of the episode. But I think I would be remiss to let this episode go by without talking about what we've got coming up on the screen here, where there was just announced in the last couple of days, I think. I assume this is the Costume Designers Guild of America. That Shauna Tropic, the costume designer here, excellence in sci-fi fantasy television, for this specific episode, Ahsoka Part 8, The Jedi.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot, for sure.
Is winning for this. Can you talk about like some of the wardrobe and the costumes and what it's like to then work in those things, and how much those become a part of the character and the show and how you move and do things?
Oh yeah, no, it's. I mean, we're on season 4 or 5, like all together since this ride started, but it's been. Everything's definitely evolved, from the Mando suit to these stormtrooper suits. I mean, Shauna and their team, they put so much energy and time into everything and making sure everything's perfect. And they're pretty amazing. Shauna was one of the best, that's for sure. We're definitely gonna miss her.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the costumes were so elaborate, but they were always so good. Did some kind of tweaking for like stunts, still make it still make it look amazing, but also like give you something. I mean, we wouldn't feel like we were in like, gym suits and track shoes, but they've made us feel very comfortable for us to be able to perform well. And I just feel like it was such a good collab with everybody.
Yeah.
They always.
It was always said about Shauna that she was very collaborative and was like, what do I need to do to make this costume not only look good, but work for you and what you need to do? Sounded like she came across as a real collaborator and someone to enjoy being with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because she's also a pro. She knows that they can look as rad or awesome as they ever could, but if we can't move in them, it's not gonna, it does no good. So she was great about asking us and feedback and making tweaks on the spot. And her entire team was amazing.
Did they have to do anything to, like, for a specific scene, maybe alter a specific piece of wardrobe and say, like, put a more elastic element in here or there for the range of movement that was needed? Or
Absolutely. They would put like gussets in our armpits and crotch and all this stuff so we could move and do all these kicks, and move around. So all throughout the season there was just constant tweaks and changes happening.
Yeah,
So JJ, so because Jonathan Notman, the governor, is a good friend of mine, and because I know he's just going to blow up if we don't just ask this one question.
Yeah.
And the question for you, it says, if you could go back in time and pick any production you could work on, what would it be and why?
Wow. Like all time?
All time. Like, go back to something that was maybe even before you were born that you just like, man, it would have been great to work on that.
So, not because it was the greatest movie ever, but in our stunt community, there's one film out there that everyone's like, oh man, what was it like to be a part of that? And that was Waterworld.
Oh wow.
My dad was a part of that show for, I think he was supposed to go out for 3 weeks and he was there 9 months, but the amount of just stuff and stories that these guys had, and they're on wave runners, and having sharks swing them. Just the whole just the process as like a stunt guy, like just for that. Obviously, the film wasn't the best. It's still entertaining, but that for a stunt person, that was probably it. I will say this
Great episode.
whole series, the Star Wars universe has been pretty rad, just because it's something I'm not familiar with, and just learning and just making someone else's vision and come true on screen. That's what it's all about.
It's funny that you mentioned Waterworld as wanting to work on it as a stunt performer, considering that's like the element of that movie that's lived on at like Universal Studios the Waterworld stunt show, which is an amazing stunt show. Right. And it looks like everybody who partakes in working on it has a lot of fun.
They do, and that's a lot of stunt people get their starts to their career by being in that or some of these stunt shows at Universal and stuff. So
one thing I love about that show is that they will bring all the stunt performers out and talk about what they actually do regularly in terms of their day job, right? It's like, oh, they do stunts on XYZ show, and there's JJ and he does Mandalorian, and
right.
So and so.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch for the
it's very cool.
For sure.
Give them a little bit more kind of recognition.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Great episode.
That was a good one. And obviously Rick, the director, he's my boy. So it was fun doing this one with him.
Yeah, that fight scene was spectacular, Natalie. It was a great job.
Yeah. She
like
worked
Mark said,
very, very hard at that one. That's for sure.
It is going to be in a top of the lists of amazing saber battles. So.
Yeah, it was super fun to do. I mean, our fight coordinator is very very hard. She never is really satisfied, so it was fun to kind of get my butt kicked every day. I was a gymnast. I was kind of used to that.
Right.
So I really enjoyed helping me create that with them.
I think all the hard work that both of you guys put into not just this episode, but the entire season really comes through on screen. It was a blast from start to finish. I'm so excited about Ahsoka season 2. We don't have a timeline yet, obviously, but we're hoping it's soon. And we know there's going to be a Grogu and Mandalorian movie. I hope you guys are a part of that as well. I know that's coming. I think they said 2026. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, the timeline keeps going out. We have stuff scheduled to like 2030 at this point.
Yeah,
there's a lot of plans. There's a lot of plans, that's for sure.
Well, we'll be on the lookout for all of these things. Before we wrap up, if you guys wanted to leave us with like one, like maybe your favorite memory from filming over the course of the entire 8 episodes. And then, of course, don't forget to tell us where we can find you online, whether it's Instagram or Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah, and tell us about projects you've got coming
Yeah.
up. Paul was mentioning that you guys were working in Arizona on like a cowboy movie or something. Like, where can we find you guys coming up soon and stuff?
Yeah, no, I just finished. It was a Pete Berg Netflix show. I was coordinating and doubling Taylor Kitsch, who was playing the lead in that one. That was a year-long deal, so I had a full beard and long hair, so I finally just cleaned up. So that's kind of what I'm taking a little break from that. Just got home last week, and I got a couple, 2 or 3 more weeks before I start prepping Mandalorian and Grogu films. So yeah, that's what's up next for me.
Cool.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I am working on a lot right now. I just had a baby, so I just started work.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And yeah, then I'll play JJ for some stunt fun and next show.
Yeah.
There you go.
We'll be back in the Star Wars universe here shortly.
Keep those connections.
Yeah. Somebody had their foot up there.
Yeah. That's my little one right there.
My cats have left me alone tonight. They usually, once it hits about an hour, they like poke their way into the door and need to be included. So
well, that's why my dog just did that right now. She was chilling the whole time and just jumped up here.
Time for attention.
Yeah.
Mine are on guard duty for the other half of the house.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeff and Dave, what announcements do we have to make before? I think for this week we have Bad Batch After Show coming tomorrow.
Bad Batch After Show. I think they are filming like right now. As
it better be.
The Bad Batch After Show is coming up, and that's gonna drop
tomorrow. It's in about a little over 4 hours.
Yeah. So that'll drop at midnight-ish Pacific. So you can be able to watch that. Go watch Bad Batch. Watch that on playback at your leisure. There's planned to be a brand new episode of the Unifying Force this weekend. That's always the fun for the every other Sunday show.
Topic TBA.
Yeah.
You guys should talk about stunts.
We might. All sorts of things. We got to come up with something. And then, join us again on Monday for another episode of Rebels Revisited. What are you talking about on Monday there, Mark?
We're gonna be doing our own Bad Batch thing. So looking at the first 3 episodes and its connections to Rebels and things like that. I will obviously talk extensively about meeting JJ and Natalie, and tell all the Rebels Revisited people to make sure that if they missed tonight for whatever reason, because I was looking for a couple of names in the chat that I didn't see, that they need to watch this on playback and tune in. So thank you guys again for joining us. This was
Thanks for having
such
us.
a blast.
Great
time.
The stories you guys provided were spectacular, and we love to hear the how-to behind this stuff. And welcome to the channel, Natalie, for your first time, and JJ, welcome back. We will be sure to be sending you invitations in the future, and I'm sure Spencer will text you repeatedly to say hello and see how you guys are doing.
Be good about that. Yeah.
Pick your brains on what possible properties you'll be appearing in the future, so we can line you up again.
Who knows who you will be seeing in the future, like our future events and our future shows, like Booty Special Edition.
Yeah. And with that in mind, like, don't everyone remember family vacation is coming up in like 5 months. July 29th through August 2nd. We're just at the 5-month mark, which is kind of crazy. So be on the lookout. There aren't that many tickets left. Be sure to join us this weekend, as we mentioned, with the Bad Batch After Show, Jedi Archives, new episode of Rebels Revisited, and we do it all again next week. And then we're on to Bad Batch rewatches on Thursday nights between now and May the 2nd. We basically make it all the way to May the 4th. It's amazing.
May the 4th.
Yeah. right.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I think that's it for tonight. Jeff, Dave, anything else?
I think that's
Get your family vacation tickets if you're on the fence. Time to do it.
And if you're not going to go, get your racer because all the cool people want one.
Oh, that's true too.
Whether you go or not.
Got to be joining the fun. All right.
All right.
With
Excellent.
that,
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
All right.
Thank
you
you
guys.
for coming out. We always enjoy your time.
Thank you.
Bye
All right,
now.
have a good night, and may the force be with you, everyone.
Bye, guys.